man is jailed for life for murdering a worker from his asylum hotel. Rhiannon White was stabbed 23 times with a screwdriver. Her killer, asylum seeker Deng Cholmajek, followed her to a train station before his vicious and premeditated attack, then seemed to celebrate afterwards.
Dancing his way down the corridor. Well, let's see him dancing now, that's all I can say.
He's going to suffer where he is now. That's all we can take from it.
Hello, Prime Minister. How are you? Very good. Nice to see you.
Also this lunchtime, the PM's progress in China. Beijing agrees to lift sanctions on British MPs and peers. Plus,
how did it make you feel?
Horrible.
a record number of patients stuck in hospital beds and the deadly scale of corridor care. Loyalty cards, are they really saving us money? Boots and Superdrug are accused of misleading customers. And remembering Jilly Cooper, the Queen joins celebrities to pay tributes to the late author.
She was an extraordinary person, brilliant writer, nice person, incredibly funny and naughty.
This is the ITV Lunchtime News with Lucrezia Millerini.
Good afternoon. An asylum seeker has been jailed after viciously murdering a worker from the hotel where he was living. Sudanese national Deng Cholmajek will spend at least 29 years behind bars. He sought to have arrived in the UK by small boat in 2024. Within months, he had killed Rhiannon White, showing, the judge said, no empathy for his victim. The mother of one had been on her way home from her shift and she was left for dead at the station, only found by a train driver and guard. Sam Holder reports.
In the foreground, Rhiannon White. She worked at this hotel which housed asylum seekers. The man in the background, shrouded in grey, had only arrived in Britain 3 months before. He's staring at her. Hours later, he stabbed her to death. Deng Majek, who's from Sudan, is believed to have come over on a small boat. There has never been any explanation why he killed Rhiannon, who left behind a young son. After she finished her shift at the Park Inn Hotel in Walsall, she made her way through a car park to a train station to head home. Majek was following behind. He attacked her with a screwdriver. As she lay dying, he went off to buy beer and was filmed dancing and laughing outside the hotel where she worked before heading back to his room.
The evidence against you, in particular from CCTV and DNA, was overwhelming. You continue to deny that you were the assailant. The court is thus left with no explanation of what possessed you to murder a member of the hotel's staff who, together with her colleagues, had been serving and helping you and your fellow residents.
When police arrested Majek, they found his clothes covered with her blood. He will now serve a minimum of 29 years. Outside court, Rhiannon's mum gave her reaction.
Regardless how much I hate him, the love I feel for Rhiannon overwhelms that, and it always will. And my last kind of comment was, let me see you dancing now.
This was a murder that robbed a family of a young mother for no clear reason, and which has become a rallying point for anti-migrant campaigners. Sam Holder, ITV News.
This has to be the most powerful smartwatch the world has ever seen. Just pop it on your wrist, and in 3 seconds, it accurately tracks 24 vital health stats, including blood sugar.
Sam Holder, ITV News.
The Prime Minister says Beijing has lifted sanctions on several British MPs and peers. It came as Sir Keir Starmer arrived in Shanghai for the next leg in his China trip. The PM said he is pursuing what he called a more sophisticated relationship with China. But last night, the US President issued a warning against closer ties.
What do you think about the UK getting into business with China? Keir Starmer was in Beijing.
Well, it's very dangerous for them to do that, and it's even more dangerous, I think, for Canada to get into business with China.
Our political correspondent, Carl Dinnan, is travelling with Sir Keir and spoke to him this lunchtime. Sir Carl, what did the PM have to say about Donald Trump's comments?
Well, I mean, he doesn't agree with them. He wouldn't be in China if he did think it was dangerous. In fact, he thinks that Britain has to be doing business with the second biggest economy in the world, and pointed out to me when I asked him about all this that in fact Donald Trump is due to come here later in the year. But I did have to ask him whether he took these sorts of comments from the American president seriously. Here's a bit of our interview. Do you believe President Trump when he says things like this? Because, I mean, he blows hot and cold. He can change his mind in the middle of a sentence.
Well, I've said all along the US and the UK are very, very close partners on defence, security and on intelligence, actually on trade.
But when it comes to the President himself?
Well, I talk to the President all the time. We understand each other, but that relationship between our two countries is hugely important. On defence and security and intelligence sharing, probably the closest relationship of any two countries in the world.
And Carl, before Sir Keir flies back via Japan, how successful do you think this trip has been?
Well, he has scored a number of wins. The latest one that he just announced this lunchtime was that he has succeeded in getting the Chinese to lift the sanctions that they've put on a number of MPs and Lords. There are 4 MPs and 2 Lords who are sanctioned because they've been highly critical of China. Now, it is not clear, however, whether former MPs and academics and other people who've been sanctioned by China, or indeed the families of these MPs and Lords, whether they are in the clear. All that remains a little bit murky, but certainly the lifting of those sanctions means that the way is clear for President Xi to come to the UK next year for the G20, which the Prime Minister has said that he hopes he will. And there have been some other wins. I mean, it looks as though Brits will be able to have visa-free travel to China, at least if they're coming for relatively short periods. On Monday, the tariffs on whisky imports from the UK are going to be cut in half, and there is work going on in other areas of the economy that the Prime Minister is feeling pretty pleased with. But overall, I think he is most pleased that there has been a thawing of relations after some pretty tricky ups and downs for the relationship between the UK and China.
All right, Carl, in a pretty rainy Shanghai there. Thank you. And some other news now. It's been announced that Gaza's Rafah crossing with Egypt will reopen to pedestrians on Sunday. It is the Strip's main gateway to the outside world, but has been largely shut for nearly 2 years. Officials say they will allow only a limited movement of people. Individuals using the crossing will face tight vetting. Next, analysis shared exclusively with ITV News shows almost 5,000 deaths associated with long A&E waits. Significantly, they were recorded last summer, not during the traditionally pressured winter months. The family of one man from Lancashire who spent 3 days on a hospital corridor last August described the situation as carnage. But medics say they are battling a backlog caused in part by delayed discharges, often due to a lack of onward social care. Our health correspondent Rebecca Barry has been investigating.
In recent months, hundreds of people have sent us their stories and videos of an NHS struggling to cope. Hospital walkways, cupboards and waiting rooms turned into makeshift wards. Just this week, footage shared with us shows elderly and vulnerable patients who deserve better than this. So we've been investigating so-called corridor care in search of the reasons and the risks.
Are you ready?
Since 75-year-old Bernard had a stroke, he needs round-the-clock care. But his family were horrified when he was taken into Royal Preston Hospital with sepsis and left in a corridor for 3 days.
It was like carnage. There were people everywhere. There was one man shouting for help. The staff were running up and down. There was no privacy at all.
How did it make you feel seeing your dad being treated in that way?
Upset, angry, a whole roll of emotions really, because he's a person. He's a person. He's my dad. He's not just a number.
Bernard is partially sighted and can't walk without help. Staff left food next to him, but he couldn't see it.
He didn't know where he was when he was on that corridor. He was just talking to the wall because he couldn't see, and he ended up with severe burns because of sitting in his own urine.
It happened last summer, not the usual busy winter months.
How did it make you feel when you spent those 3 days on that corridor?
Horrible. They need more nurses. Yeah.
And more beds?
More beds, definitely.
How would you feel about having to go into hospital again?
No, thank you.
What you don't see in all of the shocking footage we've been sent of corridor care is all of the patients on hospital wards who don't need to be there. Much of the backlog in our hospitals is caused by delayed discharges. Patients who are medically fit to leave but can't, often because of a lack of social care. Analysis by the Royal College of Emergency Medicine, shared exclusively with ITV News, shows that last year there were almost 13,000 delayed discharges every day in England. That's the worst on record. In fact, there were just 15 days when there were more patients discharged than there were delayed leaving. And it's not just a winter problem. We've learned that last summer there were almost 5,000 deaths in England associated with long A&E waits.
One A&E staff member spoke to us anonymously just after they'd finished a shift.
Today was just so bad. It's just chaotic. You know, today I've walked through A&E and there's just patients upon patients on oxygen in the corridors. It's actually embarrassing to work for the NHS. It's like it's normal, and it's not normal. Patients are dying in corridors and we're just watching people die.
The sincere apology for any distress.
Royal Preston Hospital has said sorry to Bernard and his family. The government told us Corridor Care is undignified and it's determined to fix the mess it inherited. But for some, that pledge comes too late.
This is going to be the worst experience of my life, ever. It just makes you feel inhuman.
A couple of weeks ago, we spoke to Tommy Martin, who spent 4 days in hospital corridors, even his 60th birthday. Sadly, his family have told us he died this week. They are devastated, not least because some of his precious final days were spent like this. A much-loved dad and granddad. Rebecca Barry, ITV News.
Still ahead this lunchtime. The US First Lady's new documentary premieres in Washington, but not without some controversy. First, the consumer group Which say they've uncovered hundreds of potentially misleading loyalty card deals at Boots and Superdrug, where members could think savings are better than they really are. For example, Which said one Aven moisturiser at Boots was £16.50 on a loyalty-only deal and £22 for everyone else. However, straight after the deal ended, the product cost £16.50 for non-members anyway. Well, meanwhile, at Superdrug, an Oral-B pink electric toothbrush costs £34.99 for loyalty members and £69.99 for non-members, but immediately before and after the promotion, it costs £34.99 for everyone. Now, Which are calling on the Competition and Markets Authority to investigate whether these deals are misleading. Well, Kat Schrader from the Consumer Group joins me now. Thank you so much for joining us, Kat. First of all, I guess, loyalty cards, are they worth having, or in some cases, are they just a bit of clever marketing then?
Well, we like to think that loyalty cards can provide us with a good bargain, especially in these promotional offers. But what we found in our investigations at Which is that potentially these promotional deals can be misleading. So we looked at loads of products at Boots and Superdrug over a 6-month period with their promotional cycles. And what we found was hundreds of them were actually quite potentially putting customers at risk of being misled at CMA guidelines. Now, what the Competition and Market Authority guidelines say is if the was price in the offer isn't what the product's usually sold at, that could be misleading because you're under the impression you're getting a bigger discount than you are.
Well, that's it, because just that toothbrush example for, you might not need a toothbrush, but if you see it on effectively for half price, well, you feel kind of compelled to buy it, don't you? And that is misleading.
And you could have got the toothbrush for the same price if you weren't a member at any other time. So it's certainly frustrating because when shoppers are going out and they think they've got a good deal, they deserve to know that they actually are getting the deal that they're being made to believe that they are.
Well, look, Superdrug and Boots, these are just two retailers that Which want to be investigated. We've got a statement from them in a minute, actually. But, everywhere where we get our daily shop or weekly shop now, all the supermarkets, they've all got these loyalty cards now, haven't they? Are they of use? Are they worth having? Should we still be shopping around?
So I'd say they're certainly worth having. And in this economy, customer loyalty actually isn't rewarded. So you should always be looking for the best deals and have loyalty cards wherever it is that you want to shop. But the CMA, the Competition and Markets Authority, do have these guidelines for supermarket loyalty policies. And we do think that all comparable retailers who are having these loyalty pricing offers should be held to the same standard, because also this will act as a deterrent to other retailers from potentially not following these guidelines and potentially misleading customers.
So, when I open my purse, I see that I've got several of these cards in there. What is your advice to consumers out there? I mean, keep them, keep using them, keep an eye on everything else. So we can always build up points, all those kind of things, can't we? Which is helpful, and you can cut costs.
Certainly worth having. I've got several as well. What I would say, though, is when you're out shopping, just because you see something on promotion doesn't mean you should rush to go purchase it, because often these things are cyclical, right? So if something's for sale now, it probably will be in the future. So don't waste your money on getting it now. But also, potentially do your research as well to find out that it is. And there are price runner sites, price spy sites, Camel, to make sure you do research to make sure that it is the best price it's been.
All right, wonderful advice, Kat Schrader from Which. Thank you very much. And in response to Which's findings, a Boots spokesperson said they are a strong supporter of transparency to consumers. They added that they have taken on board the report's guidance and are working to ensure all promotions are aligned to it. Superdrug said they offer regular promotions and members-only pricing across the year, which ensures their prices are competitive. They said they always aim to offer value and savings to customers, ensuring we are clear, fair and reward loyalty. And the Queen has joined celebrities at a memorial service to celebrate the life of Dame Jilly Cooper, who died unexpectedly last October after a fall. She was 88. Camilla and Dame Jilly were, of course, lifelong friends. Other famous faces included the likes of Stanley Tucci and the cast of TV show Rivals, based on the late author's book of the same name. Ellie Pitt is at Southwark Cathedral in central London. And Ellie, many fond memories shared there today.
Yes, Lucrezia, I spoke to some of the people in the congregation and they told me about Dame Jilly Cooper's generosity, her sense of fun and her naughtiness. She is, of course, best known for those raunchy novels that she wrote, and some of which were turned into TV programmes. Some of the actors in those shows were in attendance here today, as was one of her closest friends, the Queen, Camilla. They live not far from each other in Gloucestershire and had been friends for a very long number of years. As she left today, this service, she gave a small wave to the crowd who were waiting outside Southwark Cathedral. I spoke before the service to some of the others in the congregation.
She was a glorious lady. I loved her very much, and I miss her very much too.
I think she was an extraordinary person, brilliant writer, nice person, incredibly funny and naughty.
She loved everybody and everybody loved her back. She loved life, she loved nature, she was an optimist. She was an extraordinary woman. And the great thing is that although she's gone, we've got all her books and we've got her television shows and we've got her still alive amongst us.
The service itself was a celebration of her life and included some readings from her books. And in the opening, the Dean said Dame Jilly Cooper was a person with a champagne soul of good vintage and sparkling for all it's worth. Perhaps no surprise then that the service was followed by a champagne reception.
All right, Elliot, Southwark Cathedral there. Thank you very much. 2 army officers have been charged over their conduct in the case of gunner Jaisley Beck, who was sexually assaulted and then took her own life in 2021. It is understood Major James Hook and Colonel Samantha Shepherd will face a court-martial over their actions relating to the 19-year-old. An inquest into Gunner Beck's death found the incident and the Army's failure to take appropriate action more than minimally contributed to her death. Finally, this lunchtime, Melania Trump's film has premiered in Washington. The movie documents the 20 days around President Trump's return to the White House. Here's our entertainment reporter, Rishi Davda.
One more up top. Thank you guys so much. It's a first for a First Lady, profiting off exclusive access to her private life.
Here we go again.
Melania, the documentary, details the weeks leading up to the Trump's return to the White House.
They will see a lot of emotion, fashion, grief, sadness, celebration, love.
As with everything he puts his name to, Donald Trump's giving it a glowing review.
This was her baby, and it's her views, it's her feel, and she's done a great job. I think you're going to really like it.
Despite distributors Amazon putting the movie in cinemas first, ticket sales have reportedly been very weak, especially in the UK, where most screenings today have sales only in the single digits. The project's director, Brett Ratner, who hasn't directed since 2014 over sexual assault allegations, something he denies, won't be gauging success on cinema numbers.
Definitely not by the box office, because it's a documentary, and documentaries historically have not been huge box office smashes.
Amazon spent a staggering £50 million on the project, outbidding the rest of the industry. Donald Trump doesn't like the suggestion that it was the Amazon boss's way of securing lucrative government contracts.
Many Americans think that this is maybe Jeff Bezos trying to get in good with you, and they would call it an act of corporate corruption. The New York Times.
The New York Times, fake news, New York Times.
Amazon says it bid because people will love the film, and it's doubling down. There's a 3-part Melania series on the way too.
Did you watch it? I did not, yeah, I will see it on the news.
Rishi Davda, ITV News.
We'll all see it on the news. That is all from us for now. Charlene will be here with the evening news at 6:30, and the news where you are is next. But from everyone on the lunchtime team, bye-bye. Have a great afternoon.